Hi, welcome back to the workshop for episode 13 of the GGBO 2022 build. It will be episode 13 where I get to use the table saw, wouldn't it? Okay, so we've got the frame of the body pretty much done. So now it's time to do what is, for me, probably my least favourite part of this whole process. And that's kind of breaking down some big material into suitable size pieces to make the back and the top for this guitar. And the reason I don't like doing it is because it involves loud, big machines that make a lot of dust. I hate my table saw. It is the next target for being upgraded, but I really don't like it. The fence on it is rubbish, so I have to improvise a fence. So yeah, I'm not a fan, but we need to do it. So there's no point whining about it. We'll just have to crack on and get it done. So if I move that out of the way, and you might remember from an earlier episode, I've got a great big chunk of maple for the top, and I've got some walnut that we can make the back out of. Now I've worked it out that I need about 500 ml of material from these, and it needs to be not only cut to length, it needs to be cut to width and then resawed down the middle into two pieces. That's the same for the top and the back. The only difference is the back is going to be 6 mil thick and the top is going to be 18 mil thick, around about 3/4 of an inch, because the back's going to be flat and the top is going to have a carve. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to find a suitable section that's 500 mil long on these. I'm going to go from this end because there's a knot here that I don't want to include. So I'm just going to go a little bit over 500 mil. Doesn't really matter. Now there is this live edge section to this plank, but it doesn't matter because I've got way more width than I need there. But looking at this, there seems to be more figure down this end anyway, as you might be able to see. So I'm going to go from this end again. So the first thing I need to do is break these down to length. I'm just going to use a handsaw for that. It'll probably take me 10 minutes, but it will take me longer than that to break out a circular saw or my crosscut saw, because they're both packed away in another building. So yeah, just break out a handsaw and get these broke down. Okay, so that's the two pieces broken down. Didn't actually take that long, but now what I need to do is kind of thin these down because they're both way too thick. The guitar body itself, at its thickest point, is just over 13 inches. So if I narrow these down to 7 inches, that will give me a 14-inch blank, which is more than enough what I need. Now you might notice on this walnut that there's some kind of lighter wood there, almost like sapwood, and a little bit down this side as well. So what I'm going to do is, this is about 7.5 inches wide, and I want 7. So I'm going to cut this side off, which is the side with the thinner bit of lighter coloured wood. Now that might sound like the opposite of what I want, but what that will enable me to do, because you have to bear in mind the overwhelming majority of this side is going to get cut off with the shape of the guitar. So we will lose virtually all of that anyway, so that won't be an issue. And on this section, the best of the figure seems to be kind of on this side in this area. So that's the bit we're going to keep. It is a little bit snotty there, but we can kind of lose most of that anyway once we start thinning this down. Right. Go make some noise and dust. Now this might look like something of a shonky setup with the temporary fence attached in this way, but believe me, it is way better than the actual fence that came with this saw. It is rubbish. It moves all over the place. It's not square. So this, as far as I'm concerned, is way safer. I'm not a fan of this saw, as I've said. I can't wait to get rid of it and get myself a better one. However, funds are funds, so that's not going to be for a little while, I don't think. So anyway, enough chatting. Let's get this fired up and get these two bits thinned down to the size we need. Okay, so that's them ripped down to width. So now I'm going to kind of resaw them. Now I'm not entirely convinced that this saw is big enough to cut right the way through these. So what I'm going to do is just go in a little bit, then flip it over, go again, raise the blade up, and just repeat that process until we get the blade at its full height. And hopefully we'll be somewhere near, but I think I'm still going to have to do a little bit of sawing down the middle. Right, ear defenders on and let's get going again. Okay, that's the first one done. That actually went through quite nicely in the end. There's a little bit of cleaning up to do. And what I'm going to do is, because I've split it that way, that's kind of my book match. So to get the figure to match as best as possible, these need to be the outside faces. I will have to pass these through the planer to clean them up, but I'll just take as little as possible off these faces to get them nice and flat and clean. But then I will take any remaining thickness that I need to off the back faces. So that's great. So put those to one side and we can go and do exactly the same trick now with the piece of walnut. Okay, and there's the two bits of walnut cut exactly the same. Now, as these two bits are a lot thinner than the other bit, I'm actually going to put these to one side and I'm going to leave them for a couple of days just to make sure that if they do move, we get that movement before we plane them to thickness. So all that leaves us to do is to get these through the thicknesser and down to the 18mm that we want. More dust and mess, yay. But before I do that, I've got a couple of recommendations for you for other GGBO builds that have been sent in to me. And I'm going to do two today because the first one is just really a 30-second trailer, but it really is worth taking a look at. And that's coming from Scott at Walnut Guitars, and it's actually for Strut Music's Kintsugi project. And from what I understand, Kintsugi is the Japanese art of taking something broken and making it beautiful again. Now, I've had a look at that, and like I say, it's only a 30-second trailer, but it's beautifully done, and the guitar looks like it's going to be stunning as well. So that's well worth a look. And the second one is for the project by Dedicated Music. So I've pinned a comment with those links in there, so I'd recommend that you go and have a look at those. And also, go and have a look at Bonez Guitar. Scott's a funny guy and he does some brilliant work as well. So that's definitely worth having a look at too. And there we have the two bits of the top thickness down. They're still a little bit grungy, they'll need a little bit of hand planing. Regular viewers will probably remember me saying for at least the last 3 builds that I need to put some new blades in that thicknesser, so it isn't doing the best job at the moment, but it's got them to kind of within the point of cleaning up with a hand plane and a card scraper, so I'm more than happy with that. This is the top, and I've just marked it very quickly to show that it's the top and which orientation it goes in. There is a little bit of cleaning up needed to do on that center joint, but I'm sure it'll be fine. So the next obvious thing to do is to get this glued up into a top, but I'm going to save that till next time. I'm going to go in, have a massive shower, get all of the sawdust off me because I'm absolutely filthy. So I'll be back tomorrow with the next episode. So as always, like if you've liked, subscribe if you haven't already done so. Keep those suggestions for channels that you might want to see some exposure of coming in. That's been quite popular so far. And I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye bye.